This is Michael Carson back with another video. In this video, I wanted to give a update on the Hamas conflict between Hamas and Israel. I want to start off with an article from the libertarianinstitute.org. It's called Hamas has 75% tunnels intact, 40,000 fighters, and rocket production facilities. Since people don't actually talk about how Gaza gets its funding and how they manage to keep fighting. This article plus another article from Zero Hedge that I'll read after this, it'll be in one video here. It'll explain as to why, they can replenish their fighting force, and it's actually coming from outside of Gaza. Let me go ahead and read the article. It's by Kyle Alzone. Israel military sources speaking to the press reveal the lack of progress Tel Aviv has made towards one of its core goals in Gaza, eliminate Hamas. The armed wing of the Palestinian group reportedly retains 75% of its tunnels network, 40,000 fighters, and the ability to produce its own weapons. According to Haaretz, Haaretz, I don't know how to say it exactly, an Israeli defense official explained that Hamas still has significant military capabilities despite 18 months of fighting in the Strip. Israel military analysts now estimate that Hamas has 40,000 fighters. Before October 7, 2023, Hamas was estimated to have between 20,000 and 30,000 fighters under arms. Near the end of Joe Biden's administration, the U.S. intelligence community estimated that the group had lost 15,000 during the Israeli onslaught, but had recruited the same number of new troops. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had stated that one of the top goals in Gaza is to eradicate Hamas. However, the war has decimated the civilian population of Gaza. Most Gazans have been displaced multiple times. At least 50,000 have been killed, and countless deaths of deprivation have been reported. Tel Aviv and Washington maintain that all the fatalities caused by the Israeli war and blockade are the responsibility of Hamas, because they're using the civilians as shields. And they could actually escape if they wanted to, because there's tunnels that lead to Egypt, as this article will note at the end. The Israeli defense officials report that despite some protests, Hamas retains its popularity and is firmly in charge of Gaza. Its armed wing, the Al-Qassam Brigade, still has the capability to produce arms and rockets. Last week, Hamas fired several rockets into Israel, leaving one person injured. While Hamas has a significant fighting force, Israel officials say the militants have been engaging with Israeli troops, Tel Aviv says. The fighters are hiding among civilians or in the tunnels. Hamas also retains a significant portion of its tunnel network. The officials said the IDF has only managed to destroy 25% of the group's underground facilities so far. Defense Minister Israel Katz explained that some of the tunnels connecting Gaza with Egypt remain intact. See, the Egyptian wall doesn't mean anything. They have tunnels to Egypt. That's how they get new soldiers to come in and fight for them. Let me continue on in this update. This second part of this update is cash-strapped Hamas can't pay its fighters from ZeroHedge.com. This week, Israeli military reaffirmed its staying in Gaza indefinitely as its ultra-controversial anti-Hamas operation continues in the civilian-packed Palestinian enclave. Unlike in the past, Israel Defense Forces is not evacuating areas that have been cleared and seized. Defense Minister Israel Katz began on a Wednesday statement. The IDF will remain in the security zones as a buffer between the enemy and Israeli communities in a temporary or permanent situation in Gaza, as in Lebanon and Syria. as the IDF settles in for the long haul while battling a Hamas and Islamic Jihad insurgency in the Strip. The Islamic militants reportedly retain 75% of their tunnel networks, which I talked about, and some 40,000 fighters and the ability to produce their own weapons, like rockets. However, the fresh report in the Wall Street Journal finds that Hamas is increasingly cash-strapped and is having trouble paying its rank-and-file fighters. Funding from both West Bank-based institutions as well as external backers have been drying up and increasingly blocked. The group is increasingly turning to the theft of inbound humanitarian shipments, which have been entering the enclave sporadically and based on what Israeli forces allow. Israel last month cut off supplies of humanitarian goods to the enclave, some of which Hamas has been seizing and selling to raise funds, according to Arab, Israeli, and Western officials. Its renewed offensive has targeted and killed Hamas officials who played important roles in distributing cash to cadres and others sent into hiding, Arab intelligence officials said. In recent weeks, the Israeli military has said it killed a money changer who was key to what it called terrorist financing for Hamas, as well as a number of top officials in rapid succession. The report observes it has resulted in a debilitating squeeze for Hamas finances. Currently, Hamas is presenting itself as the only government over the Gaza Strip, which Israel is seeking to put a permanent end to. Salary payments to many Gaza government employees have ceased, while many senior Hamas fighters and political staff began receiving only about half of their pay midway through last month's Ramadan holy period. The intelligence officials said rank-and-file Hamas fighters' pay has been averaging around $200 to $300 a month, said the Wall Street Journal writes. And apparently due to the war, external support has also dried up as the IDF sought to block physical cash from going in and out of the Strip. This has impacted funding from the Gulf as well as Iran. Hamas, which controls Gaza civilian government, has monthly cash transfers of about $15 million from Qatar before the war. Wall Street Journal continues. It also raised funds from places including Western Africa, South Asia, and the UK, building up a stockpile of $500 million, much of it in Turkey, according to Western and Arab officials. See, why is Turkey part of NATO again? This doesn't mean Hamas insurgency occupying IDF troops will stop anytime soon, but it could begin to be a serious impact to morale. Still, the situation is likely long past the point of Islamic fighters having nothing to lose. Well, as you can see, Turkey and Southeast Asia, Western Africa, the UK, Qatar, many places are still funding the Hamas. And in the UK, there's a group trying to get rid of them from a terrorist group, but they're still getting money, and that includes, in case I forgot, that includes Qatar, Western Africa, South Asia, the UK. I wouldn't be surprised if the US was in there in some ways via USA. I mean, it's ridiculous, but, you know, there's some money stuck in Turkey, so that's kind of a good thing that they don't have access to it. So think about that. Hamas is getting funding and people from the outside to come in. That's why they stay alive. They're not eliminated by civilian population or voted out or exiled, is because they get people to keep coming in and fight for them. And people need to be aware of that. Well, if you enjoyed this video, thank you for watching. Have yourself a wonderful Easter weekend, and consider watching another video. Have yourself a wonderful day. Again, thank you for watching. Please consider watching another video. Like and share so the videos get traction, and I appreciate it, and have yourself a wonderful day.